This is day 410 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor our upcoming shiur or more, the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. It would be very greatly appreciated. Today we are doing Simon Reish Ayin Vav Sif Yud Gimel to Simon Reish Ayin Zayin Sif Beis. Yud Gimel. Kasar Ben Ramah B'Sif Yud B'Sif Beis. Yesh Min Mutar Malayin Yudi Alik Lom Ner L'Suda Shabbos. Don't say you're allowed to tell a non-Jew to light your candle for the Suda Shabbos. Because they hold, and telling non-Jew to malacha is mutar makam mitzvah, even to do a complete malacha. Shalpi is in Ogu Rabbi Lakel with the Var Tzavos and Yehuda Alik Leros Letzorach Suda. Then based on this, says Ramah, many people have been accustomed to be lenient to command a non-Jew Lalik Leros Letzorach Suda to light candles for the purpose of the meal. Especially if there's a chasna or meal going on, nobody protests against them. Everyone should be machmir if there isn't a great need. Because most poskim argue on this logeh. By the common simon shin zayin sifhei ad kan l'shoino, end quote from the Ramah. Be'eradvorim means the explanation is the mina be'eravin. Mutal malin Yehudi are permitted to say to a non-Jew, lavi mayim chamin, to bring hot water, l'tzorech hamila, for the purpose of bismillah derech chatzah shein reves, to a chatzah which is not does not have an eruv. Mizel ma'aram perek vav l'kol minel ein Yehudi mutar b'shvus rabbanan. This Ram learned that any directive to a non-Jew to do a malacha is mutar if it's a shvus rabbanan. B'makom mitzvah k'tzat tzorech tzcholi, if it's a place where a mitzvah is involved or there's some measure, a small measure of illness. I am sure. Say about it, b'kam chasadu chol mitzvahs leitir mir la'eno Yehudi b'shvus. About this is said that it does not apply to most mitzvos, only for the purpose of bris milah. The Torah concurs with Tesis. Now, Ran so it's the famous sheet of the Bala Itur. The Afil b'mlacha d'oraisa mutar l'man any Yehudi la'asos b'makom mitzvah. The even mlacha d'oraisa you're allowed to tell a non-Jew to do it in the place of a mitzvah. Shehu mefarish be'ervin sheyitil l'man any Yehudi. Arukh explains, understands that the Gemara there is allowing a non-Jew to tell non-Jew to bring out water through a Reshus HaRabim. The mitzvahs, the milani, draws parallel between all other mitzvahs and bris milah. But mitzvahs should be answered with the Shabbos in contradistinction to places in the Torah who distinguish between Mila and other mitzvahs, because Mila is unique in that in and of itself is like Shabbos. It is astonishing to rely on the opinion of an individual or the Baal Itor in a place where all the both can argue. For Dayenu Shismocha Das Rambam with Damas called Mitzvah Lamila, called Mitzvah Lamila B'Shus Rabbanan. It would seem that it goes far enough to lie in the Rambam to draw a parallel between mitzvahs, other mitzvahs, and milah in terms of the Rabbanan. Ramah seems not to be so pleased with this himself, relying on the Baal Itur. He comes to provide explanation why some people do rely on the Baal Itur. Hold that the leniency is better they should be b'shogeg than memazid, which is not obviously a leniency, and that's why we don't protest it when they do it. But with the possibility of protesting, people lying about Itur, is obviously we are required to protest. So many low shaman lakel, but say in our day and age you find nobody who was lenient in this regard. And it brings the brackets of a shlosh shachas v'shem lakel b'zeh. And now we have the opportunity to protest because people will listen to us. The Mishnah Berurah says, nevertheless, you're allowed to tell a non-Jew to fix an Erev during the Shabbos so that many people should not come to a prohibition. And in Sifkat Chabez, he says, he's about building a shul by a non-Jew. He brings down also that it's elsewhere that it's permitted to tell a non-Jew to write a letter for the purpose of a mitzvah if it's a place where it's a Torah Gadol. I Mikublani. Merabaran Slovakian Zatzal, that we lie on the Iter B'Shas Adcha Godel and Mokum El Enek Shabbos Godel. And that is why if a person is stuck in a hospital Friday night, they're allowed to take a cab home on Shabbos. It's lying about Iter B'Shas Adcha Godel, despite the Arukh HaShulchan's assertion that we should be meicha against it. So there you have that. B'cheni Moreh, I should say Chosha. B'cheni Moreh Uba, based on that talk which I got from Baron Zolevich many years ago, in Mashas Adcha Godel, like the Balaita. Tezba, V'dad, the Zen is by the any Yehudi K'shid Lik Ner L'Atzmo L'Tzorach Atzmo Mutter, which I should add, seems to be the position which the Brura over there as opposed to Arukh HaShulchan. Tezva, V'dai Shno, the Zesh is by the any Yehudi K'shid Lik Ner L'Tzorach Atzmo Mutter Yisol L'Ishtam Shlorah. That would just become explained or clarified. The non-Jew lights a candle for his own purpose. Mutter Yisol L'Ishtam Shlorah, the Jew is allowed to use that light. Zeh Afilu K'shid Tzorach L'Tzorach Atzmo B'Shul Esek Shel Yisol. See, when the Jew is lighting for his own purpose, for the Jews' business, for the Jews' concerns. Such as maids in a Jewish household should have to clean the Jews' plates after the meal. And they let the candle in order to clean the plates. A Jew can use the light. Came to the love mutam malacha shel Yisrael. Because since the maid, in this case, should be allowed, has to do the malacha of the Jew, same idea. He lights for himself, to do what he has to do, or in this case, for her to do what she has to do. If a person says, evidence is from Beis Yosef, says that a person says to a slave, go with me, and the company somewhere, and the slave lit a lamp for this purpose. It's not, it's permitted because the primary going is for the Jew. So it's quite clear. He's involved in the Jews' activities. It's only because the Jew called him to go that's prohibited. Because the primary going is for the Jew. But if it was going on his own volition, you can use that light to so to anything similar. You're allowed to tell non-Jew to go with him and to take an already burning candle. Since he's just moving it. Meaning, even though the Raisa, like to light the candle, also it's forbidden. The primary going is for the Jew. Much because Rabbi Nabi says, like Rabbi says, wrote the Zelo, making sure that's not called that non-Jews doing it for himself. It's a muktzeh, but in terms of the prohibition of muktzeh, which is the Rabbanan, mutar, it's permitted, and that's considered to be sufficient doing for himself for Issa the Rabbanan. For Issa the Raisa, that you told the non-Jew to go with you, that's not sufficient. For Issa the Rabbanan, it is sufficient. So Tzorach Atzmo has gradations. The Tzorach Atzmo than the non-Jew. In a case where it's the Raisa, it has to be more the Tzorach Atzmo. It's the Rabbanan, it has to be less the Tzorach Atzmo. Im ein tzorach le'eni the club, if there's non-Jew doesn't need the candle at all. But they also lomar without on there. In that case, can't tell him to carry the candle. They didn't allow telling non-Jew to do an issa d'Rabbanan only for the purpose of a mitzvah or some illness. But if not, it's forbidden. Nevertheless, it's not understood yet. In all these cases, okay, when the non-Jew is doing it, it's called he's doing it for himself. Why can you tell the non-Jew to take the candle for himself? So I have to say the candle mutter. Must see that since you're telling him to do something for his own benefit, it's permitted. Much better subsequent shin zayin. You tell a non-Jew to do a malacha for his own benefit. Brackets. Ukvi be arraigned before but Magen Avram Sif Kadin Aleph. The heter who oil with tzarich lezen is Arukh HaShulchan says Magen Avram has the same understanding that it's mutter because the non-Jew needs it. You're telling non-Jew to do what he needs. You can't forbid this because the oil in the lamp swishes around. Sharei Miskama said that's not the non-Jew's intent or your intent either. The only allows Bnei Torah who know that this the limited circumstance which should be deployed. Maybe they'll come to do it on a regular basis. Mishnah says an oil candle is proper to tell the non-Jew not to tell the non-Jew to go quickly, because if you go quickly, it's not possible that the oil will not switch and come closer to the wick, or become more distant from the wick, and thus it'll be mechabe and mavir involved, where he saw himself to do it. So therefore, he is more machmir on this than the Arukh HaShulchan. Yudzai b'nei lefi mashis bar oslam ala any yudi atalta on there ba'adenu mimokum mokum. Basically, what we say now, let's tell non-Jew to take a count for us from place to place. The Welt is Mako. But MSC came, the Nimtzob goes my money is, B'Shem Rabbeinu Tam. In fact, we do find a source to this. The Mutar Loma Leni Udi Taviya Ner Dolik, allowed the non-Jew bring the lit candle. These are Enel Mishum Muktzeh, but Tiltum Minatzah Mutar B'Muktzeh, Lasos Batzmo. Because prohibition is only Muktzeh. And Tiltum Minatzah, if you do it with in an abnormal way, it's mutar for you to move muktzah yourself. Can't you saw the tiltum inside, since a Jew can move it himself by moving it from the side. Therefore, also tell a non-Jew to do it in an absolute direct carrying fashion. The Ramah brings this opinion in order that you can tell non-Jew to bring beer or some other beverage through a Carmelist, and Rishus Rabin the Rabbanam, he times that for this reason, since you could go there and drink it yourself over there. Because of Sham She'en Latir Zarak L'Tzorach Shabbos, he says, nevertheless, you only permit this for the purpose of Shabbos, Shas Atchak, and under extenuating circumstances, Ayin Sham. But if not, you should be more stringent. Why did he mention this here, though? To be more stringent. So he says, it's not the same. The B'Shem Shalach therefore he's going outside to bring the bottle of wine. Avshem Milsa, this public desecration, so to speak, of the Shabbos. But the Kanish Otam Leheter also is no reason to be lenient here. They mashum Talta that which time to take account of nation. What's the Kach is a dover. It's because you want to take something, Ushtamish from dover, or use something there. V'dover is echol yikach or l'shtamish b'dover gam below on there, and that you can use it there with difficulty, but without the candle. Shem B'Shem is opposed to over there. He says his Mogay Bronx is for name Agos Mamrius. Yudches Okas Habzib Dal the Mutter Limchos Ben Yehudi. He says you're allowed to protest a non-Jew, Shmuel like near Olosif Shemen, who comes to light a candle or add oil. Hakan Lashon. Klomar meaning. Shloni tell Lomar, don't think the Kishek Shem Shoslo Tabos Lasos Malacha. Just like we're been to command him to do Malacha. Kamochen, also Lano Lak Vom Lasos Malacha, now allowed to impede him from doing Malacha. Mashon Lo, you're allowed to impede him. Badram, on the contrary. Whenever she solved the candle belongs to Jew, you're mandated to impede him and protest him. Only by where there's a fire, because of the potential loss, they permitted you not to stop the non-Jew. Some say some say if you protested and nevertheless the non-Jew lit, you're allowed to use the light. So I have a command because it's like he's lying for himself, because you protested against him. But no ruses, no wink wink, right? Don't light. Klomar's meaning Shema any Yehudi mevin shemash morabo. Non-Jew understands that which the Jew is protesting against him. Any element of Safachutz is only superficial. But he really wants him to light the candle. So in this case, it's obviously for the Jew. But also, you're not allowed to use the candle. And I'm gone below Rama Heter to him, but even without the issue of a ruse, the leniency is difficult. Sub he was usually saw upon analysis he lived for a Jew, even though the Jew made him a chal. Why should you be able to use it? Says the Rabbi has the same problem. Near the rock in a mechiv, let's say it's me beso. It says all we can say is not allowed to leave not required to leave the house. You can't leave the house because you made him a chal, but you can't use the light itself. And then he brings down in brackets that the Avram was mechames to this. But the Mishnah Berurah here is very lenient. He says that you're allowed to use the lights once you made a chal, and even if the candle belonged to a Jew and it's in the house of the Jew. Okay. So next simon Reish Ayin Zion. Shalol Grom Kibbutz, not to cause the candle to become extinguished. Aleph. Ismar Tanya, we learned in a brisa. There was a candle behind the door. Posech Mano Kedarko, you open and close it in normal fashion. The cups of it got extinguished. It got extinguished. Maskina they came, but the conclusion was not that way. But also should not have secretions for him because it's going to happen automatically. Perish Rashi came. According to Rashi, this is what it means. Munach connected the candles opposite the door, mamish. Literally. Find a kagoncha dos marmarov, such as the doors in the west, and the candles embedded in the eastern wall shalabais of the house. Connected adelis opposite the door shemarav, which is in the west. A cheder katan, and the room is small. And somebody standing outside the room. The candles behind the door. When you open the door, the wind comes in. Be afraid maybe the wind will put it out. Since it's close to the door, and they can't lose because the room is small. And the prohibition only by opening the door. And accordingly, there's no difference in this prohibition. Whether you open it in one swoop, you open it slowly. The problem is the spin on the outside, which will come in when you open the door. The brackets here says there's something mistaken about Avram. We don't have to get into that. Mishnah says if the wind is not blowing now, if it's a difficult situation, you can be lenient and open the door slowly, not to cause the door itself to generate wind. Base. Even though a normal wind will not extinguish the candle, nevertheless, they said no, don't do it. Lest there be an abnormal wind. Like we'll see, opening the door opposite a bonfire. There's no difference if you open at one swoop or slowly. But the Ramah says this is opening normally. It's a mistake because it's also no matter what. Also writes that only to open it in normal fashion is prohibited. But Rivash Bechua beer Bezel Shona. Rivash explains that this is a quote. The Rashi said Rashi said it's automatic and inevitable that the wind will extinguish. It's not talking about the wind coming through the door. It's talking about the wind which comes into being when you swing the door. And you open it. It's like you're fanning with a fan from the candle. According to this, like the Mishnah Berurah said, that way the wind comes to being. Not when you open it slowly. Brings the brackets to cover. And the Sanel says this. And the Sanel appears to came died. Distinguishes between the wind which comes in through as a result of wind and the wind which is generated by the opening of the door.